pray with me, please? Gracious and holy God, we give thanks to gather in your name, to gather as your community, to come here as a safe place, to be seen and loved and cared for. So open our hearts, O Lord, to be pushed beyond comfort, to be journeying with you on this road of discipleship. And may our ears be receptive to what you have to say to us this day. It's in your mighty name we pray. Amen. We are on the fourth Sunday in this season of Epiphany, and we've been journeying through a lot of light. We had the first Sunday of Epiphany, actual Epiphany, where we had a star that was guiding the Magi. There are still stars. If you have not received or taken one, there are still plenty of stars. Some of you are growing your star garden. Accomplished one, take another, or if you just want to be challenged, by all means, there are plenty. But if you have not taken a star, these are guiding words for 2026. And so we have those in the back. If you then remember, after the Magi, we then talked about baptism and remembered our baptism through the story of Jesus being baptized. The font is still in the back. Who touched the water as they walked in today? My guys. We talked about this last week. Okay. I'm going to keep that water there till everyone's raising their hand. I know one person did, because I also got blessed by it. Don't be afraid of the water. I think some of you don't even notice it's there. So when you walk in, you're going to notice the font. There's water and there's shells. If you did not receive a shell the last 2 weeks, please take one to know you are beloved and you are named. You do not have to be baptized to have a shell and to know that you are worthy. But baptism is a part of Christianity, and if it's something you're considering, let me know. Oh, and touch the water on the way out. Know it's blessed and know you are blessed as well. Then last week we had the come and see invitation from Jesus. He told the disciples the first of his calling was, hey, what are you doing? They ask him, and he says, just come on. Come and experience the life with me. Which prompted me asking you, who have you invited to come and see what goes on here? Harvest, Study Buddies, Westminster Free Clinic, church. So you had homework to invite people. Anyone extend an invitation to church? Okay, well, guys, are you nervous to invite people to church? Is it inconvenient? Does it feel too religious? What stopped you? All of you, by the way, myself included. I invited no one to church. As a collective, if we want our church to grow, how do we grow? We invite. So, this is beyond just us. This is, if we want people to know who God is, they need to come and experience it and not just be on their terms to see our sign and come in. Isn't it interesting that no one invited anyone? I'm finding that fascinating. No shame, because we all did it. But think about it this week. What stopped you? And what can change so that you can invite someone? So that's what we've been talking about. And then today we move into a new text where Jesus begins his ministry. And today we start off the text with John has been put into jail. Did anyone notice that text? John was arrested and thrown into prison. John the Baptist, who was on the margins, bringing people out from the center. He was baptizing them with water. He was telling them what was going to happen. And in this time when there's a huge political storm, they silence the loudest person against the politics. We start with this devastating blow of momentum that John had built, which this is typical behavior of oppressive systems, that when the loudest voice becomes not the loudest oppressive voice, they tend to shut him out, and so they remove what is challenging their power. And so they removed John from the picture into a dark prison hole somewhere all by himself. This guy who paved the way, who did the diligence, who was really faithful, who drew people in, who guided people to the Messiah, who stepped out of the way so that his disciples could become Jesus' disciples. So he's out of the picture now. And the assumption is from the Roman Empire is that all of his disciples will scatter and move on, that there is now this fear that if you speak out against, that you will then be taken away. Jesus does not play that game, though. He is not afraid. He knows what is to come. He knows that he is in the middle of absolute chaos. And so what Jesus does is says, okay, I'm not going to flee. I'm going to go to where it's really hard. I'm going to go to the place where it's a pressure cooker of political and financial and familial and cultural just mess. So he journeys to Galilee. He goes off because this is a high-stakes place. It's a crossroad of nations. Galilee is on the great imperial highway that connected Egypt and Syria. This has a lot of movement, a lot of people, a lot of stuff is happening there. And it's crawling with Roman soldiers, with foreign merchants, with tax collectors. This place in Galilee is where your faith was rubbed raw because the secular world around you was just beating them down. Faith was hard to find there. I read a quote, it said, think of it like the Wild West of Israel. It is dry, it is rough. It is not where people go to find rest. It is where they go and they are sucked dry and exhausted. I've said this a few times about Rome, but the Roman Empire was a pretty oppressive system. They did not do well with team playing. They were a top-down approach. And they really drove home that the wealthy remained wealthy and the poor remained poor. And so here, this place of Galilee, squeezed dry from taxes and watching their wealth be carted off into Rome as their own families struggle. This is what Jesus decided to go put himself right in the middle of. So he settles in this little city called Capernaum, a little town, right on the edge of the water, a place of trade where Roman soldiers were there. They were monitoring the ordinary people doing their jobs. It sat on this shoreline, and it was a fishing village. And it was there where Jesus went to proclaim the distant hope that these people so desperately needed. In our text it says, the light had been dawned, and he was there to confirm that the light and the hope and the goodness and liberation, in fact, was present. So he went to the heart of the chaos, the grit, the place where people were struggling a lot. And he went looking for people who had a bigger purpose. So he walks to the edge, not to find the powerful, not to find the people who are comfortable, but the people who are ordinary, laborers, people who are loyal to things like goodness and hard work and community. He walks up and sees Simon and Andrew doing what they've done their whole lives, casting nets, catching fish, doing the work. He approaches them and he says, come and follow me. I won't send you to fish anymore. I'm going to send you out to fish people. Come. Come into the newness, the new kingdom, the new government of heart. He doesn't offer them a 10-step plan for fulfillment and spirituality. He doesn't offer them salaries or money or packages that are really nice. He doesn't offer them housing. But in a world where Rome demanded everything that these people worked for, Jesus said, I'm going to offer you something different. Hope, light, love, goodness, compassion. The list is long. Actually, the list is in front of us. Our kids know it. Our kids know that Jesus is, let me come up here so I don't misquote them. They know that Jesus is kind, selfless, peaceful, nice. I like that one. The Son of God. They know that Jesus is wise and loving and inclusive of everyone. Our children know who God is. The kids, the 5-year-olds, the 3-year-olds, the 13-year-olds, they know the qualities of God that make God worthy of following. They know this, and they are not nearly as wise as we are. We've all been around the block or two, and we know what's happening in the world, and it makes it really hard to sometimes see these things. So when Jesus offers himself to us to say, hey, come and follow me, I am selfless and loving and inclusive and kind and nice. I am the Son of God. I know that it's hard, but come anyway. And when we hear this call, we immediately pause because our hearts have been hardened. We are tired of the hate and the violence and the fear. We are so exhausted, like Galilee. We want somewhere safe, and we don't want to have to think about the injustices that are happening. Because if we follow the kindness and the loving and the inclusivity, that means we have to fight against the really hard stuff that is in our face. So when Jesus tells Simon and Andrew, come anyway, but let's not erase who you are. Let me use what you've been gifted with, and we're going to use it for the good of the people. You can be an agent of change. Because Jesus didn't see just hard workers, he saw resilience. He didn't see people who can go through a storm. He saw humble leaders. He saw a potential in them that they didn't know themselves had in them. All they knew is they had to deal with nets and they had to do the work because they were told by the empire. And now Jesus is saying, let's use those skills for something wildly more better. More better is what we're going with today. I don't know if you've ever casted a net into the water. I have not. But I've talked to people who have. These are the nets that are huge, right? They throw them and they're like these really big things. I'm not a fisher by any long shot of the imagination. And I guess you have to pull them in. And they are heavy. And they are full of just smelly, wet fish, I'm assuming. And oftentimes, if they don't catch fish, that means their livelihood is at stake. Because casting net in the water is backbreaking work. So Jesus isn't just saying, hey, I see potential in you, come with me. He's saying, I see potential, but you have to leave everything else behind. You've got to leave your livelihood, your family, everything you know, and your security, your job, your business, putting everybody else at risk. Jesus, is telling them that risk is worth it. The risk is well worth it. It's almost like a divine pivot. He takes their calloused hands and their experience, and he says, I'm not discarding you. You are not disposable. Instead, I'm going to redeem your work. I'm going to take the skills of fishing, patience and persistence and labor, and give it to this kingdom of new purpose, a new heart. Instead of hauling fish to feed the empire, who doesn't care about you? We're now going to haul in souls and build a kingdom of love. That's what it means to be fishers of people. To take what Jesus gifts us and use it to build foundations so that there is safety and souls are fed and that people do have somewhere to land when the hate and injustice and fear are suffocating. I've had to rewrite this sermon 500 times because it feels really suffocating today. It feels like I don't know where hope went. Where did the light go? Where did all of what we did in Advent, where did it go? And it makes me angry that I have to still preach the same thing week after week, that justice is possible, and yet here we are, still fighting for our lives, feeling like we're in the midst of just horrifying things happening in our country. And it's frustrating, and I'm angry, and I didn't want to come up here and preach today. I just wanted to cuddle my babies and be at home in a place that felt good. However, I believe in the call that we have to be persistent, that we have to be patient, and we have to labor through these days that are terribly difficult. That if we don't show up, if we don't invite, if we don't be the people God called us to be, we will not survive, and hate will win. And guess what? That's not an option. Coming up here and coming to church is an act of courage because we know that it is hard, and we're feeling it to the pits of our souls today. We're seeing economic systems falling beneath us. We're seeing racial divides we thought were healing are actually really still raw. We're seeing systems of education and healthcare and justice just not lifting up people like they should. But we have to show up anyway. Even when it's hard. Even when we're angry. Even when the tears just flow so naturally. Because Jesus doesn't wait. He doesn't wait for the government to get their act together before he claims us as worthy. Jesus doesn't wait for the economy to stabilize before he sees our potential. Jesus does not wait for leaders to come to their senses before he calls us to be empathetic and compassionate. Jesus walks right into the middle and said, we will choose different. We will be different. We will be made whole together. And I have to believe that. I do believe that. But before we move into the justice doing and the work and the love, we have to acknowledge something within us. The weight of the nets that we carry. The white knuckling stuff that we just can't let go. A grudge, cynicism, anxiety, feeling not enough. The anger that is making me feel ragey today. We are all holding on to things that are weighing us down literally, not allowing us to see the light, the love, the inclusivity. We become blinded by our rage that we forget the purpose. We forget who we're following. So today I want us to name it. I don't want us to be scared of what we are holding on to. I want us to be brave and courageous and to let go of the nets, just like the disciples. To let go of things that hold us back from doing the hard, good work. What is this? Do you have one in your hand? Should be attached to your bulletin if you came anytime after 9:30 this morning. We are going to do the hard work and be vulnerable and be honest with yourself. I don't want you, when I tell you the prompt, don't write what you think I want to hear, because I don't care about those answers. I want honesty. I want you to dig into your soul and think about this. What is your net? What is stopping you? What is your hurdle that is stopping you from moving forward in discipleship and following this love and inclusivity and selflessness? What is it? You do not need to write your name. I do not need to know. But what is your net? After church, I'm going to have a basket. I won't make you write it right now. I'm going to give you a few minutes to think about it. We cannot do the good, hard work when we are just withering away with the nets that are weighing us down. The disciples couldn't do their work unless they had gotten rid of what they needed to move forward. This is our net. So today, for the rest of the service, think about it and put it in the basket as you leave, because I guarantee your net, you're not the only one carrying it. I guarantee whatever it is, you are not the only one who needs to drop it. All of us are carrying stuff that is big, that is difficult, and we are not meant to carry it alone. So think about it, write it down, name it, and be honest with yourselves. I've been thinking about this all week, and I don't know what to write on it, so I'm not upset if no one puts anything in next week. There will be a basket next week if you need a week to think about it. But this is how we continue the hard work. We drop our nets. We drop the feelings of not enough. We drop the cynicism. We drop the anxiety, and we move forward and persist in love and hope and joy, even when it feels like it doesn't exist. I promise you it does. Because God is faithful. God is steadfast. God is persistent. God is patient. And we need to be reminded of that. We are enough. We are enough to change what the trajectory of life is when we are supported and loved on by God. We have the strength to make a difference. But it's our choice right now how we move forward in discipleship. how we move in love and selflessness and inclusivity, how we move as disciples of Jesus Christ. So let us go and be peacemakers and be people who love and be light in the world even when it feels dark. Let us do the good and holy work that God calls us to. Amen.